Hey, I'm Anthony. If you're new to my channel, I'm primarily a Pot Limit Omaha vlogger. I've lived and worked in the Austin area for the past 2 years. That's included not only playing at the local poker clubs, but working at a few of them as well, primarily in a marketing role. But I also helped out as a floor supervisor. I'd cover the front desk, cashier cage, live stream commentary. So I have a lot of insight into a lot of the things that these clubs are doing, what they've done right, what they've done wrong, things I think they're missing. And so this video is really for those of you, maybe you're running a poker club right now, you're struggling with some things, you need help on, how to market, how to create a sustainable poker economy. Maybe you're thinking about opening up a poker club, or maybe you're just curious. So I'm going to share my experiences. I'm going to put in the description below timestamps so that you can jump around to the various sections of this video. The first few sections will be detailing my experiences working at poker clubs. And, there's a slight potential for it to come across as almost like a business bad beat story. I was in a marketing role, so I was not a general manager. I was not an owner. But I was, regularly interacting with them, but I was also kind of at their whims, and ultimately they were the final decision makers. So I was able to lead horses to water. I wasn't always able to make them drink. And so I will, be detailing those experiences. And again, there's the potential for it to come across as a bad beat story to an extent, but there is value in listening to those sections as well, because there are definitely lessons to be learned on things that they did that were just ultimate failures that were doomed to fail from the start. So let's get into it. All right, so first up is going to be my time working for Poker House Austin. They are no longer in business in this market. I came on board with them in late 2023. They were taking over a room that was right across the highway from the Lodge, which was, the largest, most successful poker club in the entire state. So they're right across the highway from those guys, but they had a much nicer, aesthetically pleasing room. The room had been owned and operated previously under 52 Social. It had not done well. And so Poker House Austin came in and took it over. I was involved with the two members who became the general manager and the director of operations at the outset of the business. I had met with them. I met one of them when I was playing at Texas Card House, and he had seen my channel, had seen my vlog, and he had approached me about being an ambassador for the room. They were not tied in with the Poker House people at that point. They were still kind of working on, securing the room and the operation and finding investors and stuff. So I had met with them multiple times over many months, discussing kind of my ideas. They said they wanted me to be ambassador. I said, hey, I want a seat at the table. I've been out here for a while now. I've seen things that I think, these rooms are missing that can be done differently, that can lead to success. And I thought we were on the same page with a lot of the discussions we had. So they wound up eventually, partnering up with the Poker House people. And, I'll start with the good, like the Poker House, the logo, the branding, the aesthetic, like top notch. Like it's a beautiful logo. It's super clear what it is. Here in the Austin market, you've got the Lodge and you've got Texas Card House, but they're known as TCH Social. So nothing about the Lodge or TCH Social has poker in it. When you put that on your your signage, when you promote it on search engines and so forth. So they aren't great for search engine optimization, and their logos aren't all that exciting or all that eye-catching, in my opinion. So the Poker House logo I was really excited about. It was really, I love the branding, the swag, the gear, the hoodies and everything. So that really stood out to me. And then, they came in, their rooms that they designed were really well designed. And what was nice was the room we were taking over was, in my opinion, the most, at the time, aesthetically pleasing room in the market. We could hold up to 25 poker tables. We had a full service restaurant and bar. No one else in the market had that. So just a huge advantage. The bathrooms were beautiful. They had, marble flooring and everything. Like, it just so much potential with this room. And, the parking situation was great. The parking at the lodge is terrible. The parking at the old TCH was terrible. They've recently moved to a newer location with better parking, but, there's just a ton of upside with this location. So I was really excited for the opportunity. And I really felt like, we're on the same page with the marketing that I wanted to do, the structuring of cash games and tournaments that I felt was needed to differentiate ourselves in the market and to create a fun, sustainable environment. So, I came on board with those guys, and we weren't expecting to open until January of 2024. And then 2 days before the Friday before Christmas, we get the notice, hey, we're opening this Friday with our soft opening. So we have no time to really plan and get organized and get everyone trained up. It's insanely rushed. It's right before the holidays, so there's a ton of people away visiting family. They already have plans. They're traveling. So we're going to be on a skeleton crew. So right off the bat, you're rushing to open, and you're coming in on a skeleton crew with very little training, very little battle testing. And you only have one chance to make a great first impression, right? And this room had already had kind of a negative history from the previous operation that had been in there. So you really don't want to, not put your best foot forward. And I felt like, that's what we were being forced into. So, that was really rushed. And the owners, I felt, potentially came into market underfunded. They were trying to put the cart before the horse. As soon as we opened the doors, they were hyper-focused on how do we cut costs? How do we generate revenue? It's like, no, you're the brand new business. Most businesses don't make a profit in the first year anyway. You're competing against the largest, most successful poker club in the entire state that has dominated the Austin market, right? Like the Lodge has 68 poker tables. They would get 15 to 20 cash games a day. They'd run 3 tournaments every day. And then, the second place room at the time was, Texas Card House. They had 13 tables. They would get, 3 to 6 cash games a day. And their tournament schedule was pretty lackluster. So the Lodge was just completely dominating the marketplace. And they're right across the highway from us. So, we shouldn't be focused as soon as we open on cutting costs, generating revenue. We need to build critical mass. We need to get people in the doors and butts in the seats, trying us out. So if we have to run games at break even or a loss for a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is, so that people make our room part of their daily routine, their weekly routine, whatever it is, and build that familiarity and build that loyalty, that's what you need to do. And, like I said, they were trying to put the cart before the horse and going the wrong direction, in my opinion. Now, we also had an issue where the first general manager we had was making some decisions that weren't all that great. And he was not making a lot of friends within the staff. So we ran a tournament where in the middle of the tournament's already, it's already running. We're in the middle of the tournament. The structure and everything's already been published. Because of player pressure, he winds up deciding, we're going to now have this add-on that wasn't originally part of the structure of the tournament when it started. I would come in to do, marketing and social media stuff, try to go live on Facebook, take pictures, when the room's busy and, put that on socials and get the word out. And it came to a point where I was coming in and he would grab me and throw me at the front desk and have me cover the front desk and then grab the front desk person and have them go do something else. So it was really frustrating for me. I know he butted heads a lot with, the cashier cage staff and the manager there. And eventually they wound up getting rid of him. And, things improved a little bit, but it was still some issues. They were allowing in players that they knew were banned at other poker clubs for, bad behavior and things like that. And when you let in these players that are known problems, that have been banned at multiple rooms before because you're so desperate to get games going, one of those bad players is going to scare away 10 customers, right? The juice isn't worth the squeeze. And so, that was an issue. They were so desperate to get these games started so that they could have games on Poker Atlas. They'd start them four-handed. People are coming in and, 2 or 3 of the 4 players are, employees or managers of the room. It's not a good look, And, in cost cutting efforts, they would late at night send the front desk staff home, send the cashier cage staff home, and put all of that on your floor supervisor. So the front desk is at the front of the room. The cashier cage is all the way on the other side in the back of the room. And then you've got the floor in the middle. So you've got this floor supervisor that's working late at night. And they did this to me when I was a floor supervisor, where they sent all the staff home. And now I'm covering all three stations. Well, your late night crowd tends to be your rowdier crowd, the crowd that drinks more, the crowd that causes problems more. And so, I had an incident where I was I was all alone as far as, covering all three of those stations. I'm in the cashier cage. I'm trying to cash someone out. I'm dealing with money. I'm dealing with chips. I have to be very accurate. So I'm dealing with that. I get that done. As soon as I get back out onto the floor, there's already a problem at the table. It's been ongoing where, someone had called the clock on another player, and the dealers are supposed to wait for the floor supervisor to come over and, confirm have they had enough time? And, the floor supervisor is supposed to initiate the countdown. So the dealer, in his frustration, because of how long it had taken, had already initiated the countdown. I came over, I stopped it. I tried to calm down the situation. But, we had these problem players who were kind of jawing at each other, and it wound up, breaking the game. So it was just, it was not a great decision where you're risking your service to save a few dollars because you're sending someone home at all these different stations and putting 3 jobs on one person. So, you got to make sure that, you're eating those costs to make sure that you're providing the best experience for your members so that they keep coming back and they're having a good time and issues are handled, as quickly as possible. So another issue that we had was that they would put out these promotions, like a flush frenzy promotion where you have to make, all 4 suits, all 4 flushes within a certain time frame. And I think initially they were doing like 7 or 8 hour, time periods where you could hit it. And, they would tell me, oh, we've calculated, this won't get hit for, 13.68 days or whatever. Well, it would get hit in 2 days, and then it would get hit 2 days later. And, they were just, bleeding money on the promotions. And we weren't even full. This might be when we had 1, 2, or 3 cash games going, right? And not 25 tables running or anything like that. So they would change promotions in the middle of the month. And it was maddening. You've got, poker players are creatures of habit. In most rooms, when you run a promotion, it's a month-long promotion, right? And so you put it out, you advertise it. That's the expectation that your customers have, that your staff have. Well, they would change it at a moment's notice in the middle of the month. And now our communication internally was terrible. So half the staff would be aware that something had changed. Half the staff would think we were still on the old rule set. So now they've gone from a 7-hour window to, oh, well, you have to hit all 4 flushes in a 4-hour window now. And so you're pissing off your customers, and you're causing undue stress for your staff as well, because they're giving misinformation to the customers because they haven't been informed that the goalpost has changed. And so they were very reactive rather than proactive. Doing the marketing, I was never really empowered with any marketing budget to do any of the ideas I wanted to do. I wasn't given any budget to do, Facebook ads or anything like that. Occasionally, one of the owners would throw $10 into a Facebook digital ad, like big whoop, and a lot of the marketing that I wanted to do, and I'll touch on that later in the marketing section, was more localized marketing, which was something that I felt a lot of these rooms were missing out on. So, I was never really empowered to do a lot of the things that I felt would help the room kind of reach players that our competitors weren't reaching, and, bring in more fun recreational players, which are the lifeblood of these rooms. They were trying to emulate the Lodge. They were trying to copy a lot of the things that the Lodge was doing. You're not going to beat the Lodge at their own game. You're the brand new room in town. You're the brand new sexy room in town. You got to do things differently, right? And so a lot of the things that I wanted to do that I felt I had been on the same page when I first was meeting with these guys that, wound up leading the room initially, went out the window as soon as we opened. And it was not the direction that, I had the expectation of when I came on board. The the biggest thing was the 200,000 guaranteed grand opening tournament that they ran in March. They owned 6 poker clubs throughout the state, and so they ran this 200,000 grand opening guaranteed tournament, and they ran it at all of their poker clubs for day one, and they ran 10 day ones, so day 1A, day 1B, etc., at all of their poker clubs. Well, the problems were that their Fort Worth location is, it's a beautiful room. It's a decent location as far as visibility goes. It's right near a Walmart, but their demographic, they've built a very, low buy-in, free roll heavy, low stakes tournament buy-in crowd. So this tournament had a $360 buy-in. It had permanent, $180 unlimited re-entries across any flight, but the crowd in Fort Worth wasn't the crowd to be playing that buy-in level. So it wasn't going to really do well there, and it didn't. There was a number of flights that never even ran. And then the kicker on it was that if you play day one and you survive and you make day two, congratulations, you're in the money. You've made a few $100s profit if you've only entered one time, right? But in order to play day two, you had to travel to Austin. It was our flagship location. It was the larger room. Well, all of their other poker clubs are 3, 4, 5 hours away from us. They're in Dallas, Fort Worth, San Angelo, Midland, and Odessa. So you're asking people to spend any profit they made plus some to travel 3, 4, 5 hours, pay for fuel, pay for tolls, pay for a hotel room, pay for food, and the off chance that maybe they'll go deep enough in this tournament to turn a profit and make it worth their while. So that I felt wasn't really well thought out. The cherry on top of this Sunday was that at the same time that they had scheduled our 200,000 guaranteed grand opening, the lodge already had a 500,000 guaranteed tournament with a smaller entry fee. Who do you think they're going to pick, right? Like, our event was doomed to fail from the start, and they scheduled our days 2 and 3 to conflict so that the players in the Austin market would have to pick one or the other. They wouldn't be able to play both. Again, who do you think they're going to pick? So they wound up listening to our players who were saying, hey, cancel your day 3 and your tournament on day 2. That way we can play both. And they listened to them, but we've, we're halfway through. We've done 5 of our 10 day 1 flights. We're $152,000 short of our 200,000 guarantee. It's not looking good. And I said, all right, guys, we got a lemon, but good old Anthony knows how to make lemonade, baby. This is an opportunity for us. Poker players love value and free money. They love integrity, right? How many rooms have put up these guaranteed events, and then when they realize they're going to take a bath and, have to cover that guarantee out of pocket because they aren't going to hit it, they cancel the tournament outright, or they just don't honor the guarantee. So the word guarantee has really lost its meaning in our industry across a lot of these rooms. And so if we honor this guarantee, we're going to build up our image in the industry. We're going to develop trust with the poker community. This is really important. At the same time, there's going to be a ton of people in town for the Lodges tournament, but they're going to see our tournament has a smaller, softer field of players that they have to beat in order to get our top prize. And there's going to be an overlay. There's going to be added money. That's what these guys are looking for. They're looking for that value. I was like, we should promote the absolute hell out of this, right? We will siphon business from our competitor we wouldn't have gotten otherwise, and then we'll get them to come in and experience our better ambiance, the more comfortable chairs, the food. This is something we should take advantage of. And if we promote the hell out of this, it'll help us chip away at that overlay, so it doesn't cost us as much out of pocket to cover the guarantee. Now, I don't know if these guys were embarrassed or what the issue was, but I had to argue with them for 4 days straight before finally, the night before flight number 6, they said, okay, Anthony, tomorrow you can start promoting this. Now, once again, they gave me no money. They gave me no budget to do anything, right? So I'm on, free poker Facebook groups. I'm on Reddit. I'm on 2+2. I'm on poker forums and communities. Just anywhere I can go for free to get the word out. And when all was said and done, we went from $152,000 short to under $28,000 short. And when you factor in the fees that were collected, they didn't lose a dime. We made a little money, right? So it paid for my salary right there. Now, I have a background in logistics. I'm a very proactive, detail-oriented, get-ahead-of-it type of person. This operation, the leadership was very last minute, shoot from the hip, don't really process the details, chaos personified, in my experience. And so a month before our grand opening, I said, hey guys, do we have a trophy for the winner of our grand opening tournament. Not yet, not yet. Don't worry about it, not yet, So now I'm a diligent person. I brought it up multiple times over the course of that month, and I kept getting the pushback. I kept getting the brush aside. So 4 days before we're going to crown a winner. Hey, Anthony, you got anyone who can get us a trophy? 4 days for a custom trophy. Sure, no problem. Right now, I got it done. I made it happen. And one of the owners, when it came in, said, "Oh, gee, this trophy's kind of small. We should get a bigger one next time." Like, I've been bugging you for a month, buddy. Come on, So it was a very frustrating experience for me, as you can see. And then we had this live stream room that they had set up. Well, the room's aesthetics were really nice, but the live stream room, they just stuck the table and chairs in there, and they didn't really spruce it up. So aesthetically, it didn't really look very nice. Now, they had brought one of their general managers down from one of their other rooms to replace the general manager that had been let go. And I approached them and I said, this is maybe 3 weeks before our grand opening. I was like, "Hey, are we gonna spruce up that live stream room and, make it match the beautiful aesthetic of the rest of our property so that, the people playing in there have a good experience and the people that view our live stream have a good impression of our room?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah, put a list together, but let's keep it inexpensive. I don't want to spend more than $50 to $100. Now, these guys spent, 6 figures getting cameras, RFID technology, servers, computers, all the things to put together this live stream. 6 figures. And you want me to decorate this entire room on a $100 budget? I can't get you a piece of wall art for $100. Like, I don't know, I don't know, it boggles my mind. Like, these guys are making 6-figure salaries, and this is the direction they want to go, So it was really frustrating in that sense. And then, food choices. We had this beautiful restaurant and bar, a lot of potential there. And initially, prior to opening, I said, "Hey guys, we should, anything we serve for food in the poker room, you should be able to eat with a fork or spoon, right? So give me a bowl of rice with, protein, pork, chicken, beef. Give me steak tips with mashed and veggies. Give me salad, things like that." What did we get? We got pizza, tacos, wings, burgers, all these handheld, greasy, cheap foods, right? Well, poker chips are extremely dirty, right? And rooms don't wash these poker chips. So everyone's handling them. They're all full of, gunk. And then people are eating all these handheld foods, and then they're touching the chips and they're touching the card, and you're getting grease all over everything. And people are licking their fingers. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And so that was another, point of contention for me. And I feel like a lot of rooms do that. They have these cheap, cheap food offerings, and I get they're trying to make a profit, but think about the experience for your players as well. So and then the live stream, even after I left, I was out of there near the end of March of this year, 2024, and for months and months, they would put on these live streams and they would have sound issues and, the video skipping, and, their commentator would be like, "Oh, we're still testing things out." And it's like, it's been months. How long is it going to take you to test things out? So they just continued to have all these issues with it. And, eventually, I want to say closer to August of this year, they wound up getting booted out. Their security company had left a bad review saying, "Hey, these guys don't pay their bills. They owe us $10,000. Word was that the landlord wasn't being paid, and so they came in and changed the locks, booted them out. And that's going to take us to Austin Social Lounge, which will be my next discussion, the room that wound up coming in their place. All right, so I had gotten word that Austin Social Lounge was coming in to take over for Poker House Austin. I hadn't, been in that room since, the end of March of the year. We're coming into August now. I wound up meeting with the guy who's going to be the general manager there. Very charming individual. He talked a big game. I met with him and discussed a lot of, my thoughts, my ideas of things, I wanted to do in the market, which I'll touch on, later in the video as far as, the marketing things. But I met with him and, he told me, "Oh, I've done this at all these other clubs, and, I've got a team of people. I have people that do the things you already do. I don't even need you, but I like your ideas. I like your passion. I want to bring you on board. So he brings me on board. And then all of a sudden, I'm given a week and a half to get the entire room staffed. A week and a half before, a soft opening. Now, I don't have a background in, human resources. I haven't been a general manager before. I've got to hire dealers, floor supervisors, front desk staff, cage staff, restaurant staff, and I'm given a week and a half to do it. It was like, what is going on? And, the person that he had for his general manager, I guess, was in transit at the time. And I was told, she's going to be my general manager, and she's going to be marketing, and she's going to be human resources, but she wasn't in town. So I kind of had to fill that role. And so, one of the things that I really liked was I felt, after my discussion with him, that I would be empowered to do a lot of the things I hadn't been empowered to do under Poker House Austin. Now, Austin Social Lounge, I hated the name. It's super generic. It doesn't have poker in it. It's not great for, search engine optimization. It doesn't really pop. What is Austin Social Lounge? Who knows? You just hear that. What does that mean? It doesn't mean poker to me. And the logo wasn't great. The color scheme wasn't great. He went with kind of that burnt orange that they use for the Texas Longhorns to emulate, kind of match, with the city of Austin. But that color doesn't really, match well for poker promotions. So I wasn't thrilled about that. And then, I had a very short window to really get staffed up. And when you staff up, a lot of people are going to say they're going to come in, and then they flake, right? So it's a numbers game. So I was just pretty much bringing everyone in, bringing everyone on board. We didn't really have a ton of time to vet people and, test them for skill sets and things like that. We were just super rushed. I had people contacting me. The lodge had run their own dealer training school to bring in new dealers because, they had a lot of dealers either, let go or just, leaving for other opportunities. And so they had been trying to staff up, and they have run their own internal dealer school. And a lot of those new dealers that they had were still pretty rough. And when I was reaching out, trying to find staff for our room, a lot of the people be like, oh yeah, I went through the lodge's dealer training school, but they hadn't been hired. Right. So I know a lot of the dealers that were hired were still kind of rough. And now I've got these dealers that are like, they went through the same training school, but they weren't picked. And so that, was kind of nerve wracking, but we needed the bodies. Right. So we're just letting everyone in. And we wound up with a lot of, dealers who, needed a lot more training. And we had 1 to 2 days to really orientate and train our staff before our soft opening, which again, super rushed, right? You're setting yourself up for failure on that first impression. People now have not only the negative connotation of the room from 52 Social having been there, but now Poker House Austin is gone, right? People lost money they put into memberships. People had chips that were outstanding. There's all these things that people feel like, hey, we got ripped off, and now, these guys are coming in, and, you're fighting that negative perception, and rushing your opening and providing a less than stellar experience is not really the way to do it. But that's what we had. And so, we had a cashier cage staff that we brought in. And the general manager just told them to go into the cage and set things up as they, see fit, so that they can do their job, right? He's not providing them any guidance. He doesn't have anyone to give them any formal training. Not all of this staff has worked in a poker club before. They don't know what they need to set up and how they need to set it up, right? And so he's got them like organizing this room when, they might have previous cash handling experience, but they haven't worked at a poker club before. They don't know how to set up the chips and different things like that, what to expect. So he's just tossing them in there. It's very chaotic. And then when he did come in finally to give them some direction, he's telling them, oh, you guys, you have to count these chips fast. You have to be fast because people will get mad if you don't count these chips fast. like you're scaring your brand new staff. You're not training them. You're terrifying them. You know, you don't want to train people to go fast because they're going to piss customers off. You want to train them to be accurate. They're counting money. Like, you're going to piss your customers off if the counts are off and they're getting shorted. You're going to mess up, you know, everyone's day. Like, just completely bonkers. So that was a frustration, you know, getting things open. And then he only wanted to pay floor supervisors $20 an hour. Now, the going rate in this market has typically been $30 to $35 an hour for floor supervisors. And sometimes poker dealers will act as dual rates, where they work as a floor supervisor sometimes and they work as a dealer other times. Now, most dealers do not want to work as floor supervisors. There's a few reasons. One, it's a massive pay cut, right? $30 an hour sounds pretty decent, but dealers can make a lot more than that, especially in Texas. And then you've got all the added responsibility, all the frustration. You know, sometimes you have to come in wearing, you know, the monkey suit, you know, the full suit and everything. So it's not as comfortable. And, you know, you're potentially making rulings against players that, could affect your tips as a dealer down the line. 'Cause some players, you know, they hold grudges, you know, if you make a ruling against them. So a lot of dealers don't want to be floor supervisors. So coming in at $20 an hour, I told them, like, nobody's going to want to work for $20 an hour as a floor supervisor, but, you know, that's what he wanted to do. And, you know, we had struggled at $30 an hour as Poker House Austin to get, you know, people to do it. So then, you know, we were running these high hand promotions, you know, high hand of the hour, and you win $100, right? Well, he's paying them with $100 bill, right? Cash. You hand someone cash, what's happening to that cash? It's going in their pocket, right? It's going in their pocket. So we had a team meeting and I said, hey, we should be, you know, paying these high hands out in chips. That money is more likely to find its way onto the tables, keep your games running longer, generating more revenue, and it's more likely to find its way into your staff's pockets as tips. Everyone in this meeting agreed with me. Now, I don't know if this general manager is one of those guys where, like, if it's not his idea, it's not a good idea. But he was like, oh, no, the players love the cash. Players want the cash. So we kept the cash. Now, Texas Card House had been a distant second, and they were going to be moving into this new location. And they were going from 13 tables to 46. And they were going to have a full restaurant and bar. And they had this, you know, week-long series of, you know, $30,000 guaranteed tournament, $300,000 guaranteed, and a $50,000 guaranteed. All these promotions, all this excitement, all this hype in the local market. And so that's coming up, you know, pretty shortly after, you know, we had opened up and been running. And the general manager approaches me that week. He's like, hey, I'm thinking about running a tournament this weekend. I'm like, do not run a tournament this weekend. Number one, I don't have enough time to get the word out. Number two, Texas Card House has their grand opening. We cannot compete with that. We will get destroyed, right? So I am at Texas Card House Wednesday night in their 30K guaranteed, their grand opening day. It's 10:30 at night. General manager texts me. He's like, hey, look on Poker Atlas. I need you to promote this tournament that we have on Friday. So this is Wednesday night at 10:30, and he wants to run a tournament on Friday. So I have essentially one day to promote it, right? So I look on Poker Atlas. He set it up for a 5 p.m. start time. 5 p.m. on Friday. People are at work. People are in rush hour traffic. People are grabbing food, right? Nobody starts their tournaments at 5 o'clock on the midweek, right? All the tournaments start 7 or 7:15, right? But I had reached that point where I was kind of done arguing with this guy. I was just like, okay, if this is what he wants, I will do what he asks. So this is Wednesday night. I look on Poker Atlas. It says 5 p.m. start time. Thursday morning, I double check Poker Atlas. It still says 5 p.m. start time. I put all my flyers together. I start promoting on our social media channels. He's blowing up my phone. What are you doing? This is the wrong time. Blah, blah. So now I go and look on Poker Atlas. After I've started promoting it, he's gone and changed it to a 9 p.m. start time now. Now, luckily, I had a screenshot showing Poker Atlas had listed it as 5 p.m. So I share that with him, and I'm like, you know, it said 5 p.m. You know, you must have just changed it. And he's oh, well, yeah, well, that was just a test. That was just what do you mean that was just a test? Poker Atlas is live to your customers, right? It's live. They can see it. And it's not like it was up there for 2 minutes, right? It was up there Wednesday night at 10:30 in the evening. And then Thursday morning when I started working on it. So that is not a test at all. And 9 p.m. start time is no good either, right? People want to play till 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, what are we doing? But, now I have to go and I have to adjust all of this, all of our social media posts and all of our flyers and everything. And some of the customers have already seen a 5 p.m. start time. So now they're confused when it's a 9 p.m. start time. So it was bonkers. And not only did he set up this Friday tournament, but he put a $5,000 guarantee on it. And then he added a tournament for Saturday and Sunday too. This is at the height of the grand opening of Texas Card House. All right. So he's put $15,000 in guarantees. And I'm like, we're going to take a bath on this, right? But I promoted the hell out of it in the very short window that I had. We got, over 50 entries each night, but we took a bath. We took $6,000 in overlays that we had to pay out over the course of that weekend. And he continued each night to change the structure of the tournament materially, as far as like the buy-ins and the add-ons and the rebuys. And so he was constantly shifting it to try to, chip away at that overlay. So Friday night, I think we had a $3,000 overlay. Saturday, we had a $2,000 overlay. And then Sunday, we had a $1,000 overlay. But like, you're just constantly shifting things on your customers. It's just very chaotic. It's not a good look. All right. So I'm adding this in editing after the fact as I was going through putting this video together. But with these tournaments, I played that Friday night tournament. We got down to the final 10 players. We all agreed to chop it up for 500 each because, wound up overlaying. And so, typically when you cash in a tournament, they hand you a slip with the place you finished and the payout. You go to the cage, you get your payment, right? Well, he doesn't hand us the slips, right? The tournament's over. We're all standing around like waiting, trying to figure out what's going on. And meanwhile, him and, some employees go to the cashier cage, and then they come back and they have racks of chips with, $200 in red chips and $300 in green chips. And they hand everybody a rack with $500 in chips. Well, guess what they do? Everyone turns around and we all go back to the cage and we all cash in those chips for cash. Like, he's paying these high hands in cash when he should be paying them in chips. He's paying tournament payouts in chips when they should be paid in cash. It's just everything was completely backwards, and I completely forgot to add that in. So I'm adding that in now, and now we'll continue where I left off. And what's funny to me is, he had purchased the domain Austin Social Lounge, right? And he had it under a free GoDaddy account. Well, I know enough HTML to get myself in trouble, right? But I've used the website builder tools, and this website, all it said was coming soon, right? But he's out there promoting our link to our website. And so we're already we've had our soft open, and it doesn't look like we know what we're doing. So I said, hey, if we pay $200 or, some odd, roughly speaking, for a year, we can upgrade our GoDaddy account so I can get access to this web builder tool. I'll put our website together so that, we got it, we're live, we look good. Now, he didn't want to do it. He was like, oh, my marketing guy should know, HTML, and I've got a guy who can do it. Well, that never happened. And, I'm fighting this guy to give me $200 so I can build a website for him. But he wants to lose $6,000 in overlays that I had advised against, And this was at both rooms, kind of the leadership that I was stuck under that was just doing everything kind of the opposite of my recommendations. And it was obviously, extremely, frustrating for me. And what eventually wound up happening was the money people behind this guy decided that they wanted to go a different route. And so they decided they were going to start taking a rake from the cash games, which is illegal. And they wanted to have their grand opening in a week, which was when the Lodge was firing back at TCH. The Lodge was hosting a 100,000 guaranteed free roll tournament with 6 flights, no cost to enter. We could never compete with that, So the general manager decided to leave, and I will give him props for that. Like, he did not want to do anything that was illegal. And so for those of you not familiar with Texas poker, and I'm not an attorney, so, do your own research. I'm not giving you legal advice, but my understanding of the laws out here is gambling is illegal, but there's a loophole in the law where if you gamble in a private place not accessible to the general public, then it's allowed. So they operate as a private members only social club. So you pay a membership fee, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, and you're a member of this club. Now, unlike a traditional casino where they take a rake out of the pots in the cash games, the rooms here are not permitted to do that because of the way the laws are worded. So they have to charge an hourly seat rental fee. Now, it's a less profitable business model than raking, for sure. The raking model is more profitable for the actual, poker rooms. And I've heard a lot of rooms in Houston are raking, and, many of them are getting away with it, and they're probably making decent money, but it's a risk. You're putting yourself in harm's way. So, he wound up deciding he wasn't going to continue with them. And when I heard they were going to be involved in, trying to rake these pots, I didn't want to be involved with them either. So I was out as well. So that's my experience with the clubs. Next up, I'm going to be kind of talking about, the market leaders here in Austin and the things that I feel they're missing as far as, marketing locally and structuring cash games and tournaments in a way that's sustainable. All right, so now we get to the fun stuff, which is going to start out with the marketing. And this is primarily going to be, from my perspective, in the Austin market, but it's relevant pretty much anywhere you are. There's 2 million plus people in the greater Austin area. There's, 9 poker clubs out here. Poker's been here for a decade. It's been here since 2014, but all of these poker clubs are in these little shopping plazas. They have no road signage, they have no road frontage, and they're not really effectively marketing themselves on a local level. And so the most common responses I get from a lot of people out here when I talk poker are, there's poker in Austin, or isn't it illegal, or I'd love to play, but I've never played before. I've only played in home games. I'd be intimidated. I don't want to get yelled at for making a mistake, right? So there's a huge amount of fun, recreational players that are not being reached by these poker rooms locally. And, you look at the Lodge, right? And so you say the Lodge to someone here in Austin. Well, what is the Lodge? It's a strip club in Dallas, I've been told. Not that I know, but that's what I've been told. It sounds like, a cabin in Montana, right? Nothing about the Lodge says poker. Now, the Lodge, Texas Card House, or TCH Social as they're primarily known, they have done a tremendous job of building their brands within the poker enthusiast community, right? But the poker enthusiast community tends to be these overly serious, super competitive, professional grinder types, right? They don't always have a great vibe to them. They come in, they have their hoodies on and their headphones and a scowl on their face and their sunglasses and a dark cloud over their heads. And even if they're winning, they're miserable. And the only time they speak is when they want to berate a dealer for making a mistake, or, they want to insult a player for playing bad and getting lucky against them, right? They're not a lot of fun to be around. These grinders, they lose sight of the fact that your job at the table is to be an entertainer. When I'm at the table with you, I want you having a great time while you lose money to me so I can feed my cats, right? These guys don't get it. They've lost sight of that fact. Now, I sit down, I play with Doug Polk at the Lodge. He gets it, man. That guy is amazing at the tables as far as like knowing how to keep the vibe fun, keep the vibe light, get people talking, chatting, smiling, laughing, having a good time while he scoops up all the money off of them, right? Brilliant. So these grinders, they don't get it. And they're slitting their own throats. And unfortunately, a lot of these rooms, the grinders are the ones, when these rooms solicit feedback from their customers, that's the customer most likely to hear feedback from. So they're listening to the wrong customers. They're marketing to the wrong customers. The Lodge and these other rooms, once a month, they'll have a week-long series of events, all these special tournaments and everything. Well, they're marketing outside of Austin. When you market outside of Austin, who's going to travel here? Traveling professional poker players. They don't make your games better. They make your games worse. They come into town. They beat up on your locals. They win all the money. They suck it out of your local poker economy, and they head back home to whatever state they came from. So, yeah, your room sees an uptick in traffic for that week and an uptick in revenue, but it's a net negative in the long run for your local poker ecosystem. And the Lodge ran a Valpak ad. And if you're not familiar with those are those, I've got one right here. Let's see, we put it on the camera, right? Valpak ad. These little envelopes, you get them, and let's open it up. Let's open it up together here. Let's see, right? all these cheap little, thin, chintzy advertisements for local businesses. Now, that's great if you're a muffler shop or if you're a pizza joint, right? But poker's a niche. And so most people get a Val pack in the mail, toss it in the trash, right? That's junk. Now, the people that do open it, they don't all play poker. So you're wasting your marketing dollars reaching people who aren't likely to give you a return on your investment. Now, when I was working for Poker House Austin, I contacted a mailing company. Within a 10-mile radius of the club, there was 20,000 plus people on interest lists for gambling and casinos. That's the people you want to target with a mailer. I would have sent them an oversized scratch-off mailer, right? These are your cards. This is the board. Every single one of those mailers would be a winner of some sort. They could be the same prize, different prizes, whatever it is. It's to make people aware, hey, there's poker here, right? Because people don't know. And then to get them to come in and try you out. Now, I wanted to target University of Texas at Austin. You've got 45,000 students, over 60 fraternities and sororities. Most of the fraternities have poker nights. All the Greek life do casino night fundraisers. You host a college invitational game day. You put up a prize pool. You give them a trophy. You do a live stream, right? And so you have a feature final table. You're bringing in a younger, more vibrant demographic into your poker room, heavy into social media. You do an Instagram TikTok contest with these guys. They come in, they do stupid little TikTok dances, right? But now you're leveraging them to promote you on their social media channels, make more people aware you exist. You're going to convert some of them into becoming returning members. I wanted to target Army versus Navy versus Marines versus Air Force. Those guys love to gamble. They have great rivalry. You put them on your live stream, they're going to shit talk the hell out of each other. It's good TV. And they have strong, deep connections with local friends and family. So be like, hey, Mima, I'm going to be on this live stream. Watch me fuck these Navy guys up, right? Now they're pushing you via word of mouth. I want to target retirement communities. Here in the Austin market, there's one that I can think of. There's Sun City in Georgetown. 15,000 residents age 55 and older. Disposable income, disposable time. Market to them. Give them some special rates during the daytime hours, right? Give them a free breakfast. Now you're filling in your less busy hours, your morning and afternoon hours, They'll sit there and they'll play, limit Omaha high-low, limit Hold'em, whatever, put in, some high hand promotions, bad beat jackpots, whatever it is. They'll play that for hours, right? And so now you're popping. There's nothing more depressing than walking into a large room with, 20 plus tables and there's only one or two games going, right? It looks so unsuccessful. And so you need to be doing anything you can to fill those seats, even if you're, breaking even on it. You're building that incremental business and you're creating that image of success. And when people look on the Poker Atlas app and they see you have games running, that's going to bring you more games, right? But if they look on Poker Atlas and you don't have anything going on and you've got one or two games, it's not really drawing them in, right? So, I wanted to target that. I wanted to, let's see, I've got other ideas too. Corporate and company events and parties, right? Here in Austin, we have a huge tech sector. You've got Dell, AMD, Apple, Facebook, Samsung just built a plant in Taylor. So there's all these, tech companies where these people are making, good money. They have good salaries. And not to be that guy, but there's a lot of Indians and Asians that are in these tech jobs, engineering and different things like that, right? They make good money. And a lot of those guys are really action at the table. You want them in your rooms, right? So it's a good market to target. So you can do it a la carte, right? You can say, okay, we're going to host a company event for you guys at our property. We'll provide the dealers. We'll provide the floor supervisor. You put up whatever prizes you want for your staff to win in this tournament. And we'll charge you, X amount per participant. Now, would your staff like some instruction before the event? Maybe not everyone's played poker before. Okay, that's this fee. Would you like food service? Here are your options. Would you like this live streamed on YouTube so that your friends, family, and coworkers who aren't here with us today can watch it in real time and root you guys on and chat, and you guys will be able to watch this back and relive the event in the future. That's this fee. There's all these different opportunities to incrementally increase your business by targeting specific interest groups that you can fire up and bring into your room. You can do public workers, police versus fire department with a charity element to it. A healthcare workers appreciation event. You can bring in the city council, have an event for those guys, DOT workers, UPS versus FedEx. Like there's all these different matchups you can do, but you can target these specific groups of people, show them some love, show them some appreciation, get them aware you exist, And some of them are going to convert into regular members if you show them a good time. I had helped out at a Georgetown Poker Club, small little room. They would get, one cash game a day. It would only run for a few hours each evening typically. So, they're running, break even or slight loss each month. We brought in this sorority from Southwestern University, 23 ladies, never played poker in their lives, right? Put up a prize pool for them. We had it live streamed on YouTube. We had locals, Caitlin Comiskey and Daniel Dirty Marin in the booth doing commentary. And man, the poker these ladies played was terrible, right? They did not know what they were doing. They were just limping in, calling everything. They'd turn their hands up and just look at the dealer to tell them if they won because they didn't know. One girl had a full house. She's not betting it. She just doesn't know, right? But the vibe was so good. These ladies were having a blast. They were having so much fun. And if one of them won a hand or if one of them was eliminated from the event, they're all clapping for each other. Dirty's in the booth like, man, I wish people would clap when I won a hand. It was fun. And if I was opening a poker room, my business model would be make poker fun again, right? Because it's become this overly serious, super competitive, not very friendly environment. And a lot of that has to do with my next topic, which will be discussing, structuring your cash games and tournaments in a way that is sustainable, in a way that protects your poker ecosystem. And it'll touch on, why things are shifting to more of that overly serious vibe, which I think is a negative. Now, there's other things I wanted to do too. You could do billboards. Like a lot of people, they don't think poker is legal, which, technically, but here in Texas, there's the loophole. And I don't think you could get away with a billboard like this, but yes, it's legal. And then, the poker room or whatever. You're probably giving illegal advice, but you could do, is it poker legal or, poker in Austin, play here, there's all these different things you do with billboards. I wanted to wrap transit buses in downtown Austin, those metro buses, you do a vehicle wrap, full vehicle wrap where, each window is a poker player at the table. And then there's a table under them, right? It's just visually, it pops, right? It catches the eye. And now you've got all that traffic that sees these buses, going through all these routes. And now more people are aware, hey, shit, there's poker, you can advertise, your big guaranteed tournament or, the lodge's bad beat jackpot's over $200,000 right now. Put that on there, people are going to see that. That's going to catch their eye. That's going to get interest, So those are the things on a marketing level that I feel, these rooms are marketing to the wrong customers. They're marketing to these overly serious grinders. They're trying to rely too heavily on these professionals who will travel to your city to play. You really need to build that local player base. And I feel like all of these rooms are really missing that. All right. So your local poker economy, your local poker ecosystem, a lot of people that are running these rooms and the grinders especially, they don't really think of this. They don't think long term. And so when these rooms solicit feedback from their customers, the players that are most likely to give them feedback are this vocal minority of these overly serious misregs, right? The miserable regulars that want to ensure that the cash games and the tournaments are structured in a way that's beneficial for their pockets, right? It may not necessarily be good for your poker economy. It may not be good for your business model as a room operator. These grinders are not thinking long-term, right? They're very short-term thinkers. They're thinking, I got to pay my light bill. I got to pay my rent. I need to scoop up as much money as quickly as possible, right? They want to chew through these fun recreational players. Well, if you don't give your fun recreational players a fighting chance and you don't let them win once in a while, they're going to stop coming. And then you wind up with an imbalance, right? It's out of whack at the tables where you have too many sharks and not enough fish for them to feed on. And a lot of these sharks, again, overly serious, no social skills. They're miserable to be around, right? And it just takes one of them, to drag the entire vibe of the table down. I was playing in one of the rooms like a month and a half ago, and I was in a Hold'em game, right? I'm a PLO player, but I was in a Hold'em game waiting for PLO. And it was a table full of all these grinders. And then one sweet recreational lady, she's losing in this game, right? She finally wins a big pot. She's not even winning. She's just back to even, but she's happy. She's smiling. She's talking. These misregs could not stand that this woman was happy, right? So any opportunity they had to call any little rules infraction on her, they were like, oh, you get bet, you can't do this. And I'm sitting here thinking like, what is wrong with you guys? This is the one person you want at your table. This is the person who makes it possible for you to pay your fucking mortgage. And you're trying to make her leave. You're making her experience miserable. These grinders don't know what's best for your room as an operator. They don't know what's best for themselves. They don't know that they need to create this sustainable economy. They want to slaughter the sheep instead of shear them sustainably. They want to overfish. And so they're pushing for deeper buy-ins in cash games. Well, the deeper the buy-in, the larger the mistakes players are making. And who's making the biggest mistakes in a deep buy-in event? Recreational fun players, right? So they're making bigger dollar mistakes. That's beneficial to your grinders. It's not great for your room, right? It's not great for your poker economy because you're letting these recreationals get destroyed. You even have to protect the degenerates from themselves, right? Because they'll just gamble. You have to structure your bread and butter cash games, the lower stakes cash games in your room, so that they offer some protection for those fun recreational players. It's your entry point, right? For new players to come in. You need fresh new blood to come in. Well, if your lower stakes games play too big, then those players don't really have an entry point, right? They come in and you've got these jackasses who are like, oh, if you put the $20 straddle on, I'll put the $40 straddle on, right? And they're trying to pressure everyone. And they're like, oh, who doesn't want all this action? Who doesn't want all these big pots, right? Well, they're not doing it to be altruistic, right? They're doing it to benefit themselves because they will come in and they will take these lower stakes games and they'll make them play massive. I play 1-2-5 PLO, right? $1, $2 blinds, $5 bring in. Unlimited restraddles from under the gun onwards, right? So first person can make it 10 and then 20 and then 40 and then 80 and then 160 and then 320. And I've seen it get up to 320 before. So it could be $320 before you've even seen your cards in a $1, $2, $5 game. The buy-ins start $200 to $1,000, right? But it's matched the stack. I've legitimately seen people sitting $20,000 to $30,000 deep in these games. So people who watch my channel are like, hey, I'd love to go play PLO, but I've got $600 in my pocket. This guy's got $8,000. This guy has $12,000. They know they don't have a chance because these guys come in with these deep pockets. They make these games play huge because they have the bankroll to withstand the variance that comes with that. And they can take players, these, lower stakes fun recreational players, put them out of their comfort zone and just run them over and chew through them and destroy them because they can handle those swings. They can double you up and they'll just match your stack. There's a ton of Euros who have moved here to Austin to play in these games, right? These Euros aren't making these games any better, right? Their personalities are very stoic. They're not very talkative. They're not very friendly. They're not very fun to be around. And they're extremely skilled players, right? And so that is typically who these rooms are marketing to and who they're listening to. And they're structuring these cash games in a way that is completely backwards for their business model. Like if I was running a room, legitimately, I would not have straddles until you get to like 5, 10 and above, right? Leave your baseline lower stakes games where they are. Let a 1-2 game be a 1-2 game, right? Leave those players alone. Let them learn. Joe Q Public works his 9 to 5 all week. He just wants to come in, drink some beers, watch the game on TV, play 4, 5, or 6 hours, socialize, and not get completely destroyed by these fucking Euros who came in and, the Klaus wants to come in and just fucking chew you up. And then here in Texas, we have bomb pots. Bomb pots are very popular. They typically do PLO double board bomb pots. They have them in the Hold'em games too, every dealer change, where everyone, puts in a fixed amount, your dealt a 4-card PLO hand, you immediately go to 2 runouts, right? So you're playing 2 boards. Now, I love bomb pots because I understand PLO, right? I know what I'm doing. I typically do pretty well on bomb pots. Most players don't know what they're doing in bomb pots. And so as much as I love them on a personal level for me as a player, I think they're terrible for the game because what happens is these players who don't know what they're doing, the bomb pots are what kill them, right? So you have 3 players who go broke. Well, now your game breaks, right? Those players leave, they're pissed off. Your game breaks. Now you're not making any money. Broke players are not paying you seat fees, right? You don't want broke players as a room operator. You want people sitting down, pushing money back and forth as long as possible, paying you seat fees. That's how you make your revenue. And broke players aren't good for your local, your long-term poker economy either. So, back when I lived in Tampa, we really didn't do bomb pots. We called them flips. They call them race horses out here. Everyone puts in X amount. You run out a board, and you kind of, you scratch that gambling itch a little bit, but you aren't breaking people. You aren't destroying them, So, I think that, bomb pots are a negative, especially in the Hold'em games, maybe not so much in the PLO games, but definitely in the Hold'em games for the uninitiated. And, I would recommend against them. Now, you're going to have this vocal minority of, the misregs. They're very loud. They're going to shout you down. They're going to, they're going to push for deeper buy-ins, match the stack, unlimited straddles. They're going to push for the bomb pots because it's good for them. They want it for them. They don't think about your business model, your sustainability. They think there's this never-ending pool of fun recreational players that are just going to keep walking through the door. They don't realize if they completely destroy these guys time after time after time and those recreational players can't win, they're not coming back. So stop listening to those players. They're going to be shouting in your ear. They're going to be shouting you down. They're probably going to, leave comments on this video shouting me down and telling me I'm wrong. But I am telling you, protect your lower stakes games. They're the bread and butter of your poker room. People need to be able to come in, learn to play, and not get completely wrecked so that they never come back. So hopefully you'll listen to this advice if you listen to anything. Tournaments, right? Back when I was more heavy into playing tournaments, they were all freeze outs, right? This is going decades and decades ago. But if I busted you from the tournament, you were done. That was it, right? Now all these tournaments are unlimited reentry, right? For 9 fucking levels, 4 hours, right? And they're multi-day, multi-bag, right? So it's 24 day one flights, and you can bag up to 2 times, and you can get a third and fourth bonus bag, payout, and this, that, and the other thing, right? Who does that benefit? It doesn't benefit your fun recreational players, right? Jokey Public, he's firing 1 or 2 bullets. He works all fucking week. He can't come in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and play every single flight. In all of these tournaments, they're paying 10 to 12% of the field. The prize pool is top heavy. Sometimes first place is more than second and third combined. So you're structuring these tournaments in a way that these, deep-pocketed professionals come in and they already have the skill edge. Well, now unlimited reentry, multi-flight, multi-bag, it's just additional edges for them. It's become so much harder for the fun recreational players to realize their dream of winning a poker tournament because everything is being structured in a way that is completely against them. And so now you're taking all of your money and you're funneling it into the grinders' pockets. Well, yeah, the grinders are the ones who are, on an individual basis, generating your room the most amount of money per player, right? They play the most hours. They put in the most volume. And yes, some of that money that they win in these events is going to recirculate back into your poker economy. But those guys are using that money for their life expenses, large purchases, right? Now, back when I was playing more heavily into tournaments, the winner's photo was the fucking winner. It was the winner of the tournament. Now it's 8 players who ICM chopped. To me, that is your customers telling you, hey, we are not comfortable with these pay jumps, right? Why not naturally flatten the payouts? Instead of paying only 10 to 12% of the field, pay 15 to 20% of the field. A recreational player feels accomplished when they cash in a tournament. Even if it's only 1.5 to 2 times their buy-in, they're like, hey, I cashed in this tournament. They feel good. They get that dopamine hit, right? And now you're spreading that money more evenly through your poker economy. Well, now recreational players are going to cash a little bit more often. Now they've got some money in their pockets. Maybe they'll go play in a cash game. Maybe they'll play in a tournament, but that money is more likely to recirculate back into your poker economy, right? Because fun recreational player enters these tournaments. Maybe they get lucky and they bust Phil Ivey one time, right? But if Phil Ivey has unlimited lives, you're not going to bust him 5 times, right? He's more skilled than you. He's going to get you. And so why are we structuring things in a way that is just completely backwards? It boggles my mind. I get it from a marketing perspective, right? Like, oh, this $400 tournament has $1 million guaranteed prize pool, right? But it's really not a $400 tournament. It's a $2,000 tournament if you want to be competitive, right? You need to fire multiple bullets. And so the guys that can come in there and they can fire all these multiple bullets, they're the ones who have this advantage where they can take all the risks and all the coin flips and stuff because they know they're going to buy back in. So they can take those risks to build up the big stack to give them the shot to play for these top heavy prize pools. And so if you start structuring some things in a way that gives your recreational fun players a fighting chance, it's going to be better, right? Because if you provide the fun recreational players in your room, if you have them in abundance, that's all your grinders need, right? You don't need to give them any advantages. You don't need to give all the promotional dollars to those guys for playing the most hours each month and all that bullshit, right? Funnel your marketing dollars, funnel your promotional dollars towards your recreational fun players. That is the lifeblood of your room. If you provide that for your grinders, that's what they need, right? They don't know that's what they need. They think they need to have everything in their advantage, but they don't. Let the recreational players lose a little slower. Let them have fun. Let them get entertainment for their dollar rather than being chewed up and spat out. I have a concept that I came up with that I call the Return of the Drawing Dead, right? It's this tournament where you pay one entry fee, but you get 3 lives in the tournament. So if you're eliminated prior to the end of registration, you have a token. You can use that to buy back in, right? So now you can take a bad beat. You can still keep playing. At the end of registration, any unused tokens, they're converted into chips that are added to your stack, right? So now everybody's on an even playing field. You all have the same lives. You all have the same amount of chips. It's not, oh, I've got, 1 bullet to play this tournament and this guy has 12, right? You're creating a more fair environment where the recreational player has a fighting chance to start winning again. And I think if you do that, you're going to have more fun recreational players in your room. The vibe is going to get better. It's going to be more social. And the grinders are still going to come, right? They're still going to show up because they want those fun recreational players. They're going to go where the action is. And so you need to structure things in a way that is beneficial to maintaining that ratio where there's enough recreational players on a consistent basis to make it feasible. And I feel like a lot of these rooms are failing that right now. Both the Lodge and Texas Card House are involved in these promotional wars right now. They're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars each month fighting each other for the same piece of pie, the same player pool, which, in my opinion, consists of more of these overly serious grinder types, right? And if they would just expend some efforts in creating some fun games that are protected from playing too big, and they would market themselves more towards these fun recreational local players, they would be bringing in players that their competitors not targeting. They would be improving their bottom line. They would be improving the longevity and sustainability of their poker model. So that is my feelings on things. I did miss one thing too on the marketing session. I'm going to touch on that now, but ladies events, right? Now, ladies represent 10% or less of the player pool in poker, right? It's primarily a male-dominated activity. However, poker events, right? There's poker events and guarantees and this, that, and the everything everywhere, right? And so nobody gets crazy, super excited and fired up about promoting one over the other, But ladies, they are heavily mobilized, right? They're very united. They're a very vocal group. They're a very active group on social media, word of mouth. And so if you offer some ladies events that offer a good structure and a good buy-in, right? Because a lot of these ladies events, they're these super turbos, right? There's not a lot of skill involved. They're kind of an afterthought, right? But give these ladies an event with some meat on the bones, right? Give them an event that is quality and show them some love. They're going to come out, man, and they're going to promote the hell out of your room and they're going to talk you up. And so if you do that, you can really find some success. And that's another thing I missed on the marketing side of things as well. And I'll touch on that as well. But, the economy right now, people are struggling. The cost of everything is going up. So their entertainment budgets have shrunk. Right. So you have to factor that in, right? The grinders, they can come in and they can afford to play, but these fun recreational players, it's much harder for them now. And so you need to factor that in. Like when I was working for Poker House Austin and Austin Social Lounge, I really wanted to do a thing where we put out a notice to the poker community because we were fighting against, established market competitors that were dominant saying, hey, we know you have a lot of opportunities and options here to play in the Austin market. We know we're new in town. We'd like you to give us a chance. We'd like you to try us out. So we're going to offer a yearly membership for $25, and that's going to include 5 hours of cash game time with it. Like that's insane value, right? How can you pass that up? And then I would say for the first month, we're going to give you guys tremendous value. We want you to come out, try us out. we're not going to charge you any fees to play in our cash games for an entire month. And in our tournaments, no fees in the tournaments, right? All the money's going to the prize pool. So now you're making it almost impossible for people to kind of turn you down, right? You're giving them that insane value to try you out. And you say, just, we're not going to charge any fees for that first month. Please take care of our staff, right? So now you're making sure that your staff are earning a living. They're getting their tips so that you're not having constant turnover and you constantly have to, bring in new staff while you're not having any games, right? So I wanted to do a 4-month tiered rollout where the first month, completely free. Then month number 2, $6 an hour, 8% tournament fee. Month number 3, $8 an hour, 10% tournament fee. Month number 4, $10 an hour, 12% tournament fee. You're still coming in below the market competition in this area, but you're giving yourself a 4-month time to build that brand loyalty, to get people to make your room part of their daily routine, their weekly routine, to get them to keep coming back and to get them to, experience your better levels of service, your better ambiance, and give them that real experience and build that trust within the local community and that familiarity and get them to, keep returning. When I was working at Austin Social Lounge, that was my recommendation. And what they wound up doing was doing a soft open where the first 3 days was completely free to play. Well, 3 days isn't enough to build that relationship, right? So people are just going to come in, take advantage of it, and then stop coming, which is exactly what happened. They really had no plan moving forward past that. All right, so a couple of things I want to touch on at the end of this video are going to be staffing and live streams. Now, staffing is something that these rooms, both of the rooms I worked at, they were super rushed to get open. And so, the level of training, the level of foresight and planning wasn't there. Make sure you're taking the time, get your procedures in place, make sure your staff are trained and they're all on the same page so that you're delivering a consistent message to your members on, what is allowed, what isn't allowed, what the rules are. And you're making sure that, your first impression is going to be a good one. You're delivering them good service. You're delivering a fair game. You're delivering them, quality service as far as the front desk staff goes, the floor supervisors and the rulings they make, the dealers not making errors, being able to do their jobs. That's really important. And if you're doing that, your staff are going to make more money. Your members are going to keep coming back. They're going to be more pleased. Now, touching on live streams. Live streams are an oversaturated market. And for most rooms, I think they're a waste of money. You're going to spend high 5 to low 6 figures on all the equipment, all the wiring and everything just to get it, set up in your room. And then you have ongoing costs, right? To run a live stream, you need 1 or 2 people to act as action trackers who are communicating with your dealer to, track the action as far as, who's folded, what the bets are, what the stack sizes are, what the pot size is. There's a lot of moving pieces. Then you need commentators. Then you need specially trained dealers because not all dealers can deal and communicate at the same time effectively. So there's a lot of moving parts. At the end of the day, I think it's a waste of money for most rooms. The Lodge has done a tremendous job building their poker live stream as one of the premier poker live streams in the market, right? But it's really tough to do because it's hard to build interesting lineups. Texas Card House had a 125 PLO live stream the other day. It was terrible. They had no commentators in the booth, and the lineups were. It was like all these nits, right? It was like a table full of me's. Maybe not as personable, but it was just not a great lineup. And so you need to not only factor in the added costs of running the live stream, but also the building the lineups and making sure that the live stream that you're putting together is fun to watch and it's going to draw in viewers. I've done commentary for, multiple rooms throughout the market as well as down in San Antonio. And even, I think when I was doing Texas Card House, it was like you get, 150 viewers or something. And, when it was Rounders before the Lodge purchased it, we were getting, 60 viewers. And you're in the live stream. You're like, oh, hey, where's everyone watching from? Oh, I'm in Ohio. I'm in Virginia. It's not even your friggin' customers, right? So you're not really making a ton of money or reaching a good market there. So for most rooms, I would say, don't bother with a live stream. It really isn't worth the amount of work and effort it takes. And it's not going to give you that return on the investment you make. All right, well, that's going to wrap up this video. Hopefully you guys liked it. Hopefully it was useful for you. You found some insight if you're, just interested in the poker clubs, or you're running one right now or considering running one. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I do try to reply to everybody. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit that like button. We'll see you next time.